how he was framed for an unimaginable crime, all to clear her path to a billionaire. Lucas Okafor never saw it coming. Standing in his modest kitchen in Surulere, Lagos on a humid September morning, frying plantains while the sound of Danfo buses and street hawkers filtered through the open window, he thought he was living a simple but honest life. He taught English literature at a secondary school in Yaba, drove a worn-out Toyota Corolla that required prayers before every ignition, and loved his wife Bianca with a kind of loyalty that made him overlook the small things, the expensive Brazilian hair that suddenly appeared, the late-night client meetings, the way she recoiled when he tried to embrace her. Love, he told himself, wasn't about perfection. It was about commitment. His parents had demonstrated that through 35 years of marriage before his father passed, and his mother still wore her wrapper to church every Sunday, proud and faithful. That's what real love looked like in their Igbo culture. So when Bianca's sister Ngozi called one evening, voice breaking with desperation, asking if her 15-year-old daughter Chioma could stay with them for a few months while she sorted out her messy separation, Lucas didn't hesitate. Family is everything, he told Bianca in Igbo, who smiled that strange smile he'd started noticing, the one that looked more like a mask than genuine warmth. Chioma arrived with a small Ghana-Musco bag and eyes that seemed to carry burdens too heavy for a teenager. Lucas tried his best to make her comfortable. He bought her favorite chin-chin from the woman at the junction, asked about her WEC preparations, gave her space when she retreated into silence. He noticed how Bianca would whisper intensely to Chioma late at night behind closed doors, their voices rising and falling like a sinister prayer. He noticed how Chioma stopped greeting him in the mornings, how she'd leave a room when he entered. But he told himself it was typical teenage behavior, trauma from watching her parents' marriage collapse in a storm of accusations and counter-accusations. He told himself many things that rainy season. Things that would later haunt him when 2 police officers from the gender unit knocked on his staff room door during the lunch break, right as he was marking SS3 essays. His colleagues watched in confusion as the officers, their faces set like stone, asked him to step outside. "Mr. Okafor, you are under arrest for the defilement of a minor." The words detonated his world like a bomb in a crowded market. Everything that followed felt like drowning. The metal handcuffs biting into his wrists, the walk of shame past his students who peered through windows with smartphones ready to record, the drive to Panty police station where ceiling fans creaked overhead and the smell of sweat mixed with fear hung thick in the air. They said Chioma had come forward with her mother. They said there were specific details, dates when Bianca was away, descriptions of their bedroom, acts so vile that the female officer reading them couldn't look at him. They said Bianca had reported it herself, that she was devastated and cooperating fully with the investigation, that she'd had no idea she had married such a monster. The holding cell at Panty was a concrete box packed with 20 men where it should hold 5, reeking of urine and desperation. But that wasn't what shattered Lucas. It was the transformation in how people looked at him. When his principal posted bail, more out of procedure than belief in his innocence, the man who'd once praised Lucas as our best teacher now couldn't meet his eyes. By the time Lucas returned to Surulere, his belongings were piled on the street. Neighbors gathered like it was a free show. Mama Emeka, who used to send him jollof rice during holidays, Brother Tund, who'd borrowed money from him countless times, the Adeyemi family, whose daughter he'd tutored for free until she gained admission to University of Lagos. They all stood at their doorways and windows, watching, whispering, already convinced of his guilt. In Nigeria, an accusation was as good as a conviction in the court of public opinion. Bianca had obtained a restraining order through her new lawyer, one of those senior advocates whose billboards littered Third Mainland Bridge. Lucas's own lawyer, a harried man named Barrister Emeka Obi who operated from a cramped office in Ikeja, told him the brutal truth over bottles of star beer that Lucas couldn't even taste. "My brother, these defilement cases, they are very tricky. Once the girl cries on the witness stand, once the mother supports her, once your own wife testifies against you, the judge will convict based on emotion. The law says you are innocent until proven guilty, but you know this is Nigeria. Society has already judged you." Lucas found himself in a face me I face you compound in Ajigunle, the kind of place where armed robbers sometimes operated at night and Nipa took light for days without remorse. His teaching license was suspended immediately. His church, Winner's Chapel, where he'd been a protocol officer, asked him to step back from ministry until this matter is resolved. Translation: don't come back. His phone buzzed constantly with messages, some from former colleagues expressing shock, others calling him unprintable names, a few containing Bible verses about millstones and those who harm children. His mother, in their village in Enugu, suffered a mild stroke when the news reached her. 4 months into the nightmare, Lucas had lost 30 pounds. His savings were depleted by legal fees, and any faith in Nigeria's justice system had evaporated like rain on hot Lagos pavement. The trial had begun at the High Court in Ekbosir, and each session was theater designed to humiliate him. Chioma took the stand wearing a simple dress that made her look even younger, her voice trembling as she recounted horrific violations that Lucas had never committed. She cried at the right moments. She pointed at him with a shaking finger. The public gallery, packed with women's rights activists, journalists, and curious onlookers who treated it like Nollywood drama, gasped and murmured. Lucas watched Bianca in the front row, dressed in black like a widow, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, playing her role to perfection. And something crystallized in his mind during those long court sessions. The timing was too precise, too calculated. The way Bianca had insisted Chioma move in. The way she'd suddenly started being affectionate right before the accusation, creating witnesses who'd seen them as a happy couple. The way she'd upgraded her lifestyle dramatically over the past year, new phones, expensive shoes, those weekend trips to Abuja she claimed were for training. Then one evening, as Lucas sat in his cramped room watching rainwater leak through the ceiling, Barrister Obi called with controlled excitement in his voice. "Lucas, something has happened. Chioma has run away from her mother's house. They found her at a motor park in Benin, trying to board a bus to her grandmother's village in Delta State. And my brother, she's talking. She's telling a social worker everything. The social worker, Mrs. Adiza Koli, worked with an NGO that rescued vulnerable children. She'd found Chioma at the motor park, recognized the signs of a child in crisis, and instead of immediately returning her to her mother, she'd taken time to listen. In that quiet NGO office, away from Bianca's threatening presence and her mother's desperate compliance, Chioma had collapsed under the weight of her guilt. She confessed everything. How Auntie Bianca had coached her for weeks before the accusation, drilling her on details, showing her photos of Lucas's room, making her repeat the story until it sounded real. How Bianca had threatened that if Chioma didn't cooperate, her mother Ngozi would lose the child support case, would be thrown out into the street, would suffer terribly. Chioma revealed how Bianca had promised her mother money, lots of it, and had already given her 50,000 naira as transport. She described the late-night phone calls where Bianca spoke to someone she called Olga, laughing about how that fool will rot in prison and how we'll finally be free to live properly. She told Mrs. Akoli about the rehearsals, about being forced to watch pornographic videos, so she could describe acts convincingly, about the nightmares she'd been having, about standing in her school assembly when the principal led prayers for all children suffering abuse and wanting to scream the truth. The guilt had consumed her like a spiritual attack. She'd seen Lucas's photo in the Punch newspaper, his face gaunt and aged beyond his 34 years, and something inside her 15-year-old conscience had broken. Mrs. Akoli recorded everything and immediately contacted the police. Within 72 hours, investigators had obtained court orders to retrieve Bianca's phone records, her bank statements, her emails, and her text messages. What they discovered was a digital map of betrayal, so calculated it shocked even hardened Lagos detectives who thought they'd seen everything. The deleted messages recovered from Bianca's phone, retrieved by a tech expert at the cybercrime unit in Abuja, read like a Nollywood script, except far more sinister. "He's a fool, he suspects nothing," she texted to a number saved as My King. "Once he's locked away in Kirikiri, we can marry properly. No more hiding like criminals." The number belonged to Chief Dominic Azubike, a billionaire real estate developer whose face appeared on This Day newspapers and whose luxury estates dotted Lekki, Ikoyi, and Victoria Island. Bianca had been working as his personal assistant for 3 years, a position that apparently included a duplex in Banana Island, a Range Rover Sport, monthly allowances that exceeded Lucas's annual salary, and expensive trips to Dubai and London. The messages detailed everything with shocking clarity. How Chief Dominic had grown tired of sneaking around, how his political ambitions required a proper wife, how Bianca's marriage to a nobody teacher was the only obstacle. Divorce was too complicated. It would expose the affair, might damage the chief's reputation as a family man, and would legally entitle Lucas to half their shared property. But a convicted sex offender, a monster who defiled children, nobody sympathizes with such people. Nobody questions when their wives abandon them. Nobody cares what happens to them in prison. The plan had been wickedly brilliant. Bianca would be seen as the brave woman who reported her own husband, who chose justice over marriage. She gained full ownership of their home in Surulere, their shared assets, everything, plus her freedom to marry a billionaire without any complications. There were messages about hiring senior advocates, about making sure Lucas got maximum sentence, about celebrating at Eco Hotel once he was convicted. There were even messages discussing Chioma, coldly calculating how much to pay Ngozi to ensure her cooperation, describing the girl as young enough to forget and move on. When the evidence broke, it exploded across Nigerian media with volcanic force. The same blogs and newspapers that had called Lucas evil incarnate and child predator now scrambled to report the stunning reversal. Linda Akeji's blog crashed from traffic. Twitter Nigeria erupted in debates. Instagram influencers who'd posted his photo with rapist captions hastily deleted their posts. The public outrage that had condemned Lucas now turned on Bianca and Chief Dominic with equal ferocity. Chief Dominic's carefully constructed empire began crumbling. His political party suspended him. His business partners distanced themselves. Banks called in loans. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission opened investigations into his finances. His wife of 23 years, a respected doctor from a prominent Yoruba family, filed for divorce and went on a radio program to expose his double life. He became a cautionary tale in Lagos society, proof that money couldn't buy you escape from consequences. Bianca was arrested at the Banana Island duplex, trying to flee to South Africa. The videos of her being paraded by police went viral, her expensive wig askew, her designer dress rumpled, her face no longer beautiful but twisted with the reality of consequences. She was charged with perjury, conspiracy, child exploitation, and giving false information to the police. Ngozi was also arrested for complicity. The women's rights groups that had championed Chioma's courage now had to grapple with the uncomfortable truth that they'd been weaponized in a scheme. Lucas's exoneration came on a Wednesday morning in November. The Attorney General himself filed a null proska, discontinuing the case. The judge's words, "Totally innocent, victim of a wicked conspiracy, grave miscarriage of justice," echoed in the packed courtroom. Lucas walked out of Igbosir High Court into the chaos of Lagos Island, the heat, the traffic, the noise of a city that never paused for anyone's pain. Journalists swarmed him with microphones and cameras, shouting questions about how he felt, whether he'd forgive his wife, what he planned to do next. Barrister Obi pushed through them, creating a path to a waiting taxi. "Don't say anything," the lawyer advised. "Let the facts speak." But Lucas stopped at the court steps, looking at the cameras, at the faces of Nigerians who weeks ago had called for his castration and now wanted a story of triumph. He thought about what to say, what wisdom to offer. But the truth was he felt hollow. The legal system had declared him innocent, but it couldn't restore what had been stolen. His teaching career was destroyed. No school would hire someone with that kind of history, innocent or not. His reputation in Surulere was permanently stained. Even now, he could see it in some eyes, the lingering doubt, the whispered questions of but what really happened. His mother was paralyzed on her right side in the village, her stroke triggered by the shame of her son's accusation. His younger sister had faced mockery at her workplace and eventually resigned. Some scars, Lucas was learning, the law couldn't heal. "I am grateful to God for vindicating me," Lucas finally told the cameras, his voice steady despite everything. "I thank Barrister Obi, Mrs. Akoli, and everyone who believed in the truth. To Chioma, I say I forgive you. You are a child who was manipulated by adults who should have protected you. I pray you find healing." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "But I want Nigerians to learn something from this. We are too quick to judge, Too fast to condemn, too eager to destroy people based on accusations before we know the facts. Social media turned me into a monster before any court heard evidence. Even now that I am freed, many will still believe I am guilty. They will say he escaped on technicality, or there's no smoke without fire. This is the Nigeria we have built, where accusation is conviction, where innocence cannot wash away the stain of suspicion. His voice grew firmer. Bianca destroyed my life because she wanted money and status. She used the pain of real abuse victims as a weapon for her greed. She corrupted a child's innocence. She weaponized the justice system. And I am free now, yes, but I am not the same man who was arrested. That Lucas Okafor is dead. The man standing here has learned that in Nigeria, the law can clear your name, but society will forever whisper behind your back. The journalists fell quiet, their cameras capturing something raw and true. I have lost my career, my reputation, my health, precious time with my dying mother. Bianca will serve some years in prison and come out. Chief Dominic will rebuild his wealth eventually. People like him always do. But me? I will spend the rest of my life explaining this story, proving my innocence to people who have already made up their minds. That is my real sentence. He looked directly into the cameras. So I say to every Nigerian watching this, be slow to judge. Be careful with people's lives. Be sure of facts before you share that post, before you type those comments, before you condemn someone's entire existence. Because once you destroy a person's name, even if they are innocent, they can never fully get it back. I am free, but I will never be free of what this accusation has done to me. Lucas stepped into the taxi, leaving the journalists with their footage and their questions. As the car navigated through Lagos traffic, past the street hawkers selling everything from phone chargers to roasted plantain, past the danfos packed with passengers, past the familiar chaos of a city that had witnessed his destruction and his vindication with equal indifference, Lucas looked out at the life continuing around him. He had survived. He was innocent. The truth had prevailed. But as the taxi crossed Carter Bridge back toward the mainland, Lucas understood the bitter lesson he'd never wanted to learn. Sometimes justice gives you back your freedom but cannot restore your life. Sometimes winning means merely surviving. Sometimes the truth sets you free but leaves you homeless in your own story. He had been cleared, but in the eyes of many, he would forever be the man who was accused, and that shadow would follow him longer than any prison sentence. Still, he was alive. He was vindicated, and tomorrow he would begin the slow, painful work of building a new life from the ashes of the old one. Not the life he'd wanted, not the life he deserved, but the life that remained after betrayal had taken everything else. That would have to be enough. If this story moved you, if Lucas's journey resonated with something in your own life, or opened your eyes to how easily lives can be destroyed by false accusations, I need you to do something right now. Hit that like button. Let me know this story mattered to you. Subscribe to this channel because we're bringing you stories that reflect our reality, stories about survival, betrayal, and the complicated nature of justice in Nigeria, where perception often matters more than truth. Share this video with your family and friends. These are conversations we need to have. And drop a comment below. Do you think Nigerian society owes Lucas more than his legal freedom? Have you witnessed or experienced false accusations? What should happen to people like Bianca and Chief Dominic, who weaponize the justice system for their greed? Your perspective matters. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more interesting and captivating stories. See you on the next one.